Okay, so we're out here in California with Arai, checking out the new GTX. Now, as somebody who's worn a Signet for years, this intermediate oval fit is pretty darn perfect. I mean, you want to talk about a Goldilocks fit, there's a reason it fits the majority of the North American market. This helmet really does vent quite well. It's funny, when we were riding on the highway bolt upright, didn't notice the vent so much, but man, you just tip your head forward just a couple of degrees, 5-10 degrees forward, all of a sudden you feel those top scoops, especially those rear scoops, really moving some air down the back of the helmet to help cool you off. They're touting this as the Corsair for the street, at which point I have to say they've got it pretty much spot on. As a Corsair, it's great at 100 plus miles an hour, 130, 140, but we can't do those speeds on the street. And the ventilation really isn't designed to work below that. So to have a helmet that can really sort of maximize your venting at 40, 50, 60, 80 miles an hour, let's put it realistically, that's where most of us mere mortals live. You get all the bones and all the structure and all the DNA of that Corsair in a street rideable helmet. For previous years, the Vector 2 was always their entry-level full-face helmet, which would get you most of the features that you were getting out of a Quantum or a Signet. So what most people probably don't realize is that the Vector used what they called their complex laminate construction. Very basic fiberglass construction, composite. And there's nothing wrong with it. The difference is that the Signet X and the Quantum X and the Corsair X all got what they call the Peripheral Belt. It's basically, think of it as a stiffening belt that goes up and across the front of the forehead. Top of the forehead is where you're going to be prone to injury, and you want to add extra strength to that. Well, that's one thing that the Vector never had. Also, what you can't see inside is the EPS. Arai run a number of different EPSs. Some are 3 density, some are 4 density, some are 5 density. All your upper ones got 4 and 5, while your Vector made do with 3. Now granted, as an entry-level helmet, you've got to make the changes somewhere within the construction to justify those costs. So in doing that, Arai have taken the stance of going, okay, well, we're not going to give you less quality and less protection in the construction materials because that would edge too close to the Vector. What we'll do is, we'll give you the same build as the Quantum and the Signet, and we'll take a couple of the features that you can then add on and bring it up to the same price. You can add that chin skirt. You can add the pin lock that no longer comes in the box, but it'll still have the pin lock ready shield. And voila, you're back up in that Quantum and Signet X pricing. Now on this helmet, I've got the Pro Shade, which is that flip down tint. I have to say, I was kind of skeptical at first, and I get the reasoning behind it. Arai doesn't want to do anything with a drop-down sun shield because A, it either puts a gap in between the shell and the EPS, which means it's less efficient. It means that you've got to make other altercations to get even anywhere near the level of protection that you'd look for in that helmet. They went out, they designed the Pro Shade. It's an external pop-up, pop-down sun shield. Works as a peak visor like you would find on a dirt bike helmet. In its up position, you can sort of dip your head and just get, a sunburst or sun glare that just pops over a horizon without having to put it down. Or, like today where I'm out riding, it's beautiful, sunny with barely a cloud in the sky. You ride with it down and you got full coverage. Works well, works smooth, no sacrifice in protection. Those are the things that have always been key to Arai. They've never been one to make those compromises, and I, for one, have always been glad that they've never made those compromises. Good enough is never enough.